Note of crises that you mentioned, but what would you say is the biggest crisis personally for you, and how would you go about solving it, really?
Oh, the biggest crisis. I think actually the political crisis is probably, because that's to get politics that's actually representative of the people, to get politicians who are representative of the people, to then change the decision making and change the way things are done. The obvious example of this is Westminster. It's much easier to do a nice sexy story involving a cuddly animal or involving a car crash than it is to say what's happening to our local NHS hospital, what's happening to the aged care services that are being handed over to Virgin Healthcare or United Health from the US or whatever. But again, this is a real opportunity for people in this room. There's some really good work out there. There's on Open Democracy, it's a website, they do a lot of good stuff on this. Really explore what's happening locally. You'll hear, those of you in the room who are student journalists, or even if you're not, find out what's happening locally, tell people the story, write it down, spread it around. Because our NHS is being lost at a huge rate. And what we're racing towards is basically an American-style healthcare system. And this is demonstrably such a bad idea when you think about the fact that Americans spend twice the percentage. We have a huge crisis of political legitimacy. And I was talking about how mainstream politics is failing, but politics on the ground is getting more active. There's an excellent website called The Conversation, and there was a report there from the University of Birmingham a couple of weeks ago. And it was a graph of the level of political activity as reported in the media from 2010 to 2015, and it was a very steep upward curve. And the report was suggesting that the level of political activity is now back to the kind of what it was in the 70s or 60s. So people are getting more involved, getting engaged. I mean, I was with the student nurses marching on the bursary or bust march in January, and it was lovely actually, because these were mostly young women who never thought they'd deal with politics. It wasn't on their radar. And they suddenly got thumped with loss of bursary and fees. And it won't even affect most of the women who organised this, because they'll have left before the change starts. But they got organised, got engaged, and organised a big march on the streets of London. And they kept sort of sidling up to me and going, "We've never done this before. Are we doing it right?" And I'd say, "There's 10,000 people behind you. You're doing absolutely fine." So that's a really good example of people getting engaged in politics. But we need to make our political decision making match the will of the people.